Hey Sibs, this is little sister Chris, and let me just have a seat real quick and talk to y'all just one-on-one. It's just us chickens. If you're from the south of the U.S., that's just meaning it's just you and I. So let me sit down for a little bit before my next session starts. Oh gosh. All right. Hey y'all. So it has been a few months since my latest episode with some siblings, and for you all who are not aware, I started my business in October of last year, and it's just been a learning experience to start a business, and especially a private practice in therapy. So I am little sister, and I'm also a grief therapist. And excuse me, I'm talking a little bit differently because I had a wisdom tooth removal surgery in May, and it turned into a fiasco. If you've ever had wisdom tooth removal, I had dry socket for some reason, and end up having to go back to the doctor, to the dentist, and get stitches. So my jaw is actually still very sore, although the initial surgery was the weekend before Memorial Day. And then the stitches was right after Memorial Day. And then taking out the stitch was a week after Memorial Day. But I still have very much a sore jaw with this whole process. And I just, at this point, really want my money in my tooth back. But I'm hearing it's just going to take a while because I did have that dry socket. And when you have dry socket, you have to go back in. And it's like a second surgery. It was worse than the first time. And I was awake, y'all. Anyway. So I don't want to ramble on, but we are under a rebranding for this channel. I will be changing the name of the podcast. It will be a different name, and I will be, you will be seeing a different name, but it will reflect not only us siblings, but it will also reflect grief resources, because I am a mental health therapist and my niche is grief and loss. And so many people need to have the access to grief resources and tips from people who look like, because grief therapy, I believe, and a grief therapist being a Black woman, brown woman from the South, there's so much that is a bit different than colonization of grief therapy. I feel, and this is my personal, I feel as though being a grief therapist and being a Black woman grief therapist, being a sibling survivor, and also being in the South, that this is ancestral for me. I just believe it. Juneteenth was just on Monday. Wednesday was just on Wednesday. And I just feel like this is appropriate for me to be able to break down some things in a way that gives a lot of us resources, gives us a voice, not only just for siblings, but for people in grief and people who are, whether it's fresh or whether you're seasoned in grief. But I will be changing the name of the channel to reflect what I do. Reflect that I'm also a sibling, but I'm also a professional and working on so many different resources for people out there who are in bereavement, not only for a sibling, but in general. Going back to work, those topics, decolonization of grief, and grief topics in relation, where to go for help and resources, and hearing other people's stories. You will still hear the sibling stories, you'll still hear me, but you will see me going about my day, talking about the presentations that I've had. You will see little sister enjoying life, because it took a very long time for me to enjoy life. I will address topics like how I feel as though death and the ramifications of death of my brother really took and stole my teenage years in my 20s and some of my 30s, unfortunately. And there are times where I look back and I realize that I was not living life at all. I was just in autopilot, and I was also in grad school and trying to find life and what that meant for me post a death of my brother. I also did not realize how much risk was involved being a grieving sibling. So yeah, I am going to address a lot of different things. I have a big guest coming up, and he will pop off the new rebrand for me, and I am excited about that. So y'all, this will be sponsored by my newsletter. I will let you know the name of that as well. Ooh, my earring's gone. My newsletter, as well as my business, Tittle Pennant Grief Counseling and Consulting LLC. It will be all sponsored by all of those companies. I will talk to you soon. The new season is launching soon. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for being here. Even those people who I don't know about, who has watched these channels for years. I started this in 2019. Audio only. The audio only link is in the description, and then moved over to YouTube back in 2021, I want to say, with my other podcast that I retired now. But I will see you back here soon. Our new episode airs after we get it edited. Well, I'm getting text messages at the same time. Y'all, I get distracted. A little business ADHD brain. But anyway, so I'm gonna go get something to eat real quick, or try to chew something really quick, and get to my session. I will talk to you soon. Happy Friday. Bye.